extremely. All right, this is so not going to work. Am I annoying anyone yet? I'm annoying myself. Okay. Let me make sure the TV is off, or at least, okay, it's muted. That's okay. Okay, now. Need to get this up. We're going to close out Facebook. Hi.
Oh, are we live? I should scooch down.
Yes, we're live. You don't have to scooch down. I will scooch up. Oh, you know what, though? You do have to turn off that light back there. Because that will be highly annoying. Hi, guys. Jack, I did see you posted that on the group or something. Hold on. I'm getting this up. Or something. Hold on. I posted all those extras on the... thank you. Thank you for posting them. Thank you. Okay, now I need to find this because this will drive me crazy. Thank you. Okay, and I need those things back there. All right, so I'm slightly prepared.
I was about to say you should probably do this prior.
Whatever, I was late. Shut up. Okay, so you all know Frankie, I think by now. If you've watched my channel at all, you know my oldest son, Frankie. He is maybe the one person in this lifetime, I think, that could be smarter than me. But, like, the only one. All right, I have, I believe, everything I need. All right, let's see. First of all, hi. Pat is here. Hi, Pat. You haven't gotten to talk to Pat. They're new admins. They've been around for a long time, but I just put them on as admins, so they were there when I just was talking to people, but we'll have to introduce time. Hi, Alexa Joy. Hi, Stephanie and Hexen and Shauna. Shauna and Pat are married, and they are the two. Yep. Par for the course. Yes. Everyone remember to smash, that like button, please. Thank you. And hi, Marge. I got to get headphones. 3 boys are playing Xbox. Oh, yes. I love that. You should hear this one. He is the funniest one playing video games. You crack me up every time because when you get totally into it, you have no idea the shit that you are talking, and it makes me laugh to hear. I can hear it from down here. Yep.
Sounds about right.
Yep. It's funny. Hi, Paris. Okay. So first of all, what the heck was I going to say first?
Give me that.
This?
Yeah.
Is it distracting you?
Yes.
Yeah, but then it's too dark. Maybe it's not.
At all.
Oh, because you can see it in the window. That's so annoying. See, now you have to turn off the actual TV, though. That top left.
Okay.
Perfect. All right. Hi, long hair, skinny eyed toe. Isn't that a cool name? I always. All right. They're playing a racing game. The sound effects are hilarious. Oh, I bet. We, I won't go into Xbox stuff. Never mind. Although we just found our original Xbox, or actually PJ had it and has brought it back. So I'm kind of itching to play some of our old Xbox games. Anyways, because I can't do it on the computer. I don't know. I'm too old school. Or too old in general. I don't know what it is. Okay, so I wasn't going to do this whole series. I wasn't going to start this whole series until next week. But I will tell you that I'm kind of like done doing unboxings for a little while anyways. I did a couple today and then one last night, and I have 3 more decks I still have to do at some point this weekend, and I will get them up, but I'm really done. So I decided it would be a good time to start our shadow work series. Hi, Jazz. You did not miss anything. You're good. Actually, it's funny, Jess. I was just looking up my old shadow work series. This is what's really funny. I cannot believe this, but I did not do shadow work at all last year, which I didn't realize. And so the year before that was when I did my whole series of shadow work. And I can't believe that's true, but I think it is.
Probably.
And you were there, Jess, because I looked it up because I was trying to find the books that I used before because I wanted to see what kind of books I used, and I didn't want to use exactly the same books. But I can't find any of my damn shadow work books because, you know, the big bookcase is gone now, and I had to pack up a lot of my books. And for some reason, I pulled out, I don't know, books that I should have not pulled out until spring, but whatever. But it was funny because Jez was there back then with the Shadow Work series too. I wish I could do an unboxing. Oh, hush up. You will, I'm sure. Why can't you unbox Pat? Yeah, because she doesn't have any decks right now. I know. Yes, Jess has been here a while. It's nice to look back and remember the old days. I mean, not that they're better than the new days, but it was different back then. It was like I knew everyone. Now sometimes I'm like, I think I know you, but I don't remember your name. Okay. All right, so let's talk about, first of all, I kind of made Frankie be here. Because he is also a Carl Jung fan, and most of the stuff that I do shadow work from is from Carl Jung. And he is just brilliant. He's one of my favorite philosophers. He is, I think, I don't know. I think out of the biggies, he just, to me, speaks to me more than any of the other ones.
Yeah.
You think? I'm trying to think of anybody else who, like, there's like Tesla. I love what Tesla had to say, but that's a different genre, you know? He had a lot of spiritual things to say, though. Tesla did too. He just did it in a different way.
No, Carl Jung's one of my favorites. He's one I draw a lot of my personal theories from, with the collective unconsciousness.
Yeah.
That's, for me, that's one of the big ones.
So explain that, because a lot of us are not going to know what that is.
Collective unconsciousness. Okay, so, mind you, I differ with Carl Jung on some things, but basically there's a layer to each person. You have the ego, which is the way you present yourself. Your persona is above that. Below your ego is kind of the self, and it's protected by your ego. It's also protected by a layer of your subconscious that is personal, and then below that is a collective unconscious, which theoretically everyone shares. And
that is somewhat where I began to really think about when I talk about the web, the spiritual web of consciousness that I believe that we all are connected to. Mm-hmm. That's kind of partly where it comes from. That I believe that when I'm doing readings for someone or when I'm healing or that kind of thing, you can really get into that web. And if you find the right connection and vibrate like a spider web, if you vibrate the right connection and you find that it goes to that other person, then that's how you know what you're healing, or that's how you know what their spirit guides are. That's how I, tune into their spiritual development, is through that same collective consciousness. So that's kind of where that idea came from for me, was Carl Jung. Brilliant, brilliant, brilliant. So Hexen says, there's so many new people. You've created an amazing squirrel family. I love you too. Kind of like the psychology, id, ego, and super ego.
That's exactly what it is. I believe id, ego, and super ego was specifically proposed by Freud, which Carl Jung shared a lot. However, there's a key difference in that the shadow or anima, or specifically the personal unconscious, Freud looked at it as everything you want to cast off of yourself. It's always evil. It's this negative representation of yourself. It's almost a dark mirror image of your ego, which the self is projecting. Carl Jung proposes more that this is your personal shadow, and that you cannot have yourself without your shadow, so that there is good in it. Also, that by working on yourself and stripping away the things you don't know about yourself, you can get to the collective unconscious, which is how you connect to others.
And your perfect self. That there's a goal that we see ourselves, if we allow it. Now, not always. Sometimes we see ourselves much worse than we are, because that's, we build up that self-hatred, or that shame or guilt, or whatever the hell you have built up there. But if you're thinking of your perfect self, that is where that comes from. This is where I expect to be. And I often, a lot of times, and not just females, because I know you do this too, but relationships, we hang on to relationships sometimes that maybe we shouldn't, because we see that person with the potential, their potential person. Like, we see what we know they're able to become, and they may never get there. In the meantime, we're dealing with this person with all their faults and all that kind of stuff too, but we see what they can be, so we hang on to that, knowing that, hopefully, well, not knowing, sometimes hoping that they can get there. That's where that, you want to change me? No, I just want to strip away what I know you're not really needing.
That reminds me of a really great quote by Carl Jung, but go
on. Did we buffer for a minute? Sorry. I forgot to tell the kids that we were going live. Shit. So our internet is going to be shit through this whole thing.
Language.
Shit. What?
Terrible.
I'm your mother. You're not mine. We keep getting a black screen and then it comes back. So are we back? I really need to say something to them about me going live, because I forgot. Oh, I'm looking for my phone to text them.
Hang on.
Oh yeah, you can turn.
They're about
off.
to be really upset.
I'm sure they're all gonna run down here and get all pissed off. But Frankie put in this special thing; he can cut them off. So, if you hear sudden "wah" and running down the stairs, you'll know what it is. Okay. So are we back? You need a megaphone, right? Now that is convenient, right? I know it. And he has it. He keeps telling me he can give it to me. Oh, there's one. And I'm like, no, I don't think I want that power. I've been watching for 2 seconds and I'm already touched. Good. Okay. Did you find the quote or no?
No, I'm busy shutting off their internet.
Terrible. So there's a lot of Freud is another person that did deal with shadow and stuff. Like Frank said, Freud had a lot of I like Freud. Very brilliant. Again, very brilliant man. What's the movie
Which one?
that you had me watch?
Oh, A Dangerous Method.
A Dangerous
Fantastic.
Method.
Fantastic
If you
movie.
do not, if you haven't seen it, seek it out and watch it. Very good movie. Then it gives you a good idea of what their thought processes are, and how they thought and why. Thus far, we don't need that here. Yeah, wait a while, Pat. When they're teenagers. Maybe I did forget Christina. My brain has been kind of glitzy due to holidays and triggers. Uh-oh. What'd you forget? Hi, Ricky. Okay. So anyway, the other thing that Freud focused a lot on the sexual id from childhood. And I'm not saying that doesn't have any impact at all, but like every single thing he would bring back to that. And after a while, it was like, okay, dude, go get laid and then let it go and move on to a different theory. So some of the work that Jung has done, I try to, by the way, of course, in my Pinterest page, the rabbit hole, the deep, dark place that is my Pinterest that you can get lost in. I have a board called Shadow Work. And there's a lot in Mama's Words of Wisdom, Get Laid. Exactly. There's a lot of Carl Jung's best stuff in there. Some of his really great quotes and stuff. So if you want to, start shadow work, if you're interested in looking in shadow work, it's a good place to start because I've got a lot of good quotes. There's some good tarot spreads.
This one and this one, actually. Would you like me to read it, or?
Yes, go right ahead.
So there's two of my personal favorites that directly relate to this. So enlightenment is a destructive process. It has nothing to do with becoming better or being happy. Enlightenment is the crumbling away of untruth. It is seeing through the facade of pretense. It's the complete eradication of everything we imagine to be true. So when he talks about that, a lot of that has to do with gaining, like I mentioned, the shadow is almost a direct dark reflection of the ego. So it's you're accepting the dark with the ego, which is what you want to be, and you're accepting both of those things as your complete self. The other quote I actually might like more, but there is
good though.
Yeah, I know, I love that one. But there is no coming to consciousness without pain. People will do anything, no matter how absurd, in order to avoid facing their own soul. One does not become enlightened by imagining figures of light, but by making the darkness conscious. He's fantastic, I know.
Goosebumps. Goosebumps. I love Carl Jung. Okay. So that's what shadow is. To me, I always talk about shadow in the context when we're talking about doing shadow work. By the way, Frankie, I love your shirt. That's
you.
Pat. He's Norse religions, and so you guys would get along really good.
Mm-hmm.
I talk about the work that we're doing is finding the shadows that we have created within ourselves. And when I talk about shadow, I am talking about those things that we have built a wall up to protect from whatever pain and scrutiny and eyes looking at, that we don't want other people to see that. And so we have built this wall up. And usually what comes with that wall is a behavior that we may not be super proud of. And the behavior comes in when we're not accepting, when we kind of wall that up even from ourselves. When we suddenly are lashing out at people and they didn't really do anything. Or I was saying to Frankie, he's kind of a lot like me, and I want to, pull your shit out. But with me, I have anger issues, and my anger issues 99% of the time are what I'm working on shadow work. Every year I'm like, okay, I'm going to try. Now, this year, I feel a lot better this year than I have been in quite a while, because recently I have learned more, I think, about how to separate my ego from it. It's not been easy, and I'm not saying it's like perfectly crafted it yet. But for me, when I have terrible rage issues, and I know you guys are like, haha, yeah, right, because you've never seen me like that. I have terrible rage issues. And will purposely like lash out at people who I feel like as a defense mechanism. And like afterwards, I'm like, oh my God, that was like, I will say things that are just the most horrifying things you've ever heard in your life, to like distract or as a defense. And that stems from something in me that I at some point built up a wall saying, oh, I don't want anyone to see that, so I'm going to build this wall up, and if somebody is close to looking in at that wall and seeing what I've hidden, then I must get them away from me. So I'm going to be as horrible and awful as I possibly can. So for me, shadow work always starts there. Always. It just is. To keep people away from our shame, absolutely. Dana, but also Mama Squirrel is such an empath that, yes, that can cause issues. You take a lot onto yourself. That's true. And if other people are feeling some way, then I can take that on as my own. And sometimes I don't even realize, like, what the hell why am I like weeping for no reason, or why do I suddenly want to rip somebody's head off, or what? And very often it is someone, that I'm close to, or someone that I love is in that kind of pain too. And so you do definitely have to be careful that it's actually your shit that you're bringing up too, right?
Yeah.
I have a sharp tongue when angry too. I hear you, Deb. Whew, I'm telling you. Takes me forever to get angry, but then watch out. Yeah, I can't even tell you some things I've said to people. It's mentally exhausting and frustrating to always feel that much. It has to come out some way. Yeah, that's true. Absolutely. And I think, a lot of us in this field, a lot of pagans, a lot of people who are spiritual are very empathic on top of it. And so I think we all can feel that from each other. And as part of, here's a theory that I have, as part of, when we talk about that web of connection, I believe that when you start learning to connect, and we're all connected to it, when you start to feel that connection and be able to use that connection, you're making yourself an empath. That's what opening the third eye is, partly. That's what is making you more empathic, is learning to connect, to vibrate those different layers of the web, and then you're feeling what's coming back. So that's part of it, is you're kind of you're making yourself more empathic by doing that. So just be aware. Yippee for you, you're on this great spiritual path, and it is great. But like that one quote was, the path to enlightenment looks nothing. I love the there's the meme that says everyone thinks enlightenment looks like but really it's snot dripping down your face, and you've been screaming and crying and bloodied and bruised, and because it is the tearing down of everything that you think and every piece of protection that you have built up, and all that. So it's definitely not this pretty, wonderful thing all the time. That's why they call it shadow work. I can tell you bully me and tell people I wear pajamas to Walmart. That's right. Because it's so cute. Always have a form of psychic protection up so you're able to deflect some of it. Yep. And know how to ground and center. Yes, for sure, for sure. Hi, Lunar Feather. Mama calls me out when I think it's a secret. Yes, yes, that's true. I know, because I told you that Scully, you thought it was just a Scully. It has a little camera in there. um, the other thing is, let's move on to, now I have a really great spread. I don't want to do it, I don't think live, although maybe, I don't know. We'll see. We'll get there. Where is the one? Oh, here we go. So whatever is rejected, here's another Carl Jung. Whatever is rejected from the self appears in the world as an event. So what does that mean? I mean, that's the correlation, not the correlation. That's not the word I'm looking for, Jen. That is the final outcome. That's what comes to fruition when you ignore your shadow. When you decide that you don't need any shadow work, that you are perfectly happy, you know, being at the point where you're at and you have nothing to work on. Obviously, you're delusional. And they will come back to you until you deal with it. It will manifest itself based on who comes in your sphere of influence, based on the things that start happening to you in life. The universe kind of brings you things and says, oh, look, there's this problem here. If only you had shadow that you could work on that would teach you how to deal with that. And it will happen over and over and over until you figure it out. So for some of us, forever. And that's okay. None of us will have nothing to work on. Absolutely. I've never read his books, just snippets here and there, though, through the years. Is there a specific book you recommend? Boy, so many. Yep. Mind is going blank. Yep. He has actually a shadow book. What the hell is it called? Did you get it yet?
I mean, there's so many.
I know.
Hang on.
Introduction to
Mysterium.
I'm working on it.
Yeah.
Art of Carl Jung, Integration of the Personality. If I had to start out knowing not a whole lot about him, I think I would start out with just the Essential Jung. And that kind of gives you an overview of his like basic principles, and it wasn't a hard question. It's just he has so many books. I don't even know how many he wrote, but a lot. But the Essential Jung, that starts out with some really good writings of his and kind of gathers up a bunch of his teachings into one place. So that, gives you a good head start on how he thinks and what he thinks about.
I was about to say, one of the things about Carl Jung is a lot of what he wrote was notes, like while he was taking patients, clients, whatever. So it can be sporadic as he was jumping from theory to theory. So I actually like college level books, college psychology books a lot of the time, kind of compile his works by category rather than more of a random collection of thoughts. Which, I mean, if you want that, there's lots of just quote books and
My
what
Pinterest page.
what yeah. What's the book? One of his books is literally just a collection of his manuscripts and notes.
Yeah.
It's like, which is a good one, but
Yeah.
yeah, completely erratic.
Yeah. All over the place. And, definitely though, you're right. And I think the essential works too is the same kind of thing. They pull stuff in and it's kind of by category. So you can look up, you know, this it's shadow work and sexual behavior and the ego
Id,
and
ego, anima, animus.
yeah. I don't know why I struggle with my fucking glasses on my head.
Language.
Oh, would you? This is my channel, damn it. Knowing your darkness is the best method for dealing with the darkness of other people. That was him. That's good too. Okay. So, how so shadow work. So now we've talked about the shadow. Everybody kind of have an idea of what the shadow is. So what is shadow work? Where do we go from here? Why is it that we're working on it? Shadow work to me is, and it's different to different people. Some people think it's a different thing. And keep in mind too, the people who would follow Freudian's theory on shadows and stuff are going to treat this very differently than the way I do. Because again, I do not see my shadow as a bad thing necessarily. Sometimes the things that we keep in shadow are causing bad behaviors, are causing hurt that we're not aware of, or why it's there. But I don't think the shadows themselves are bad at all. Many times the shadows that I have and that most people have are protection. They're a form of protection that came up when you needed protection from something that you did not have control over or were not able to deal with at that point in time. So your ego, your inner self, your spiritual self decided to put up a block to so that you could continue on with life. It would be great if every time some big thing happened in our life that really hurt us, if we could just take the time to stop life, break down for a couple weeks, work on what it is that hurt us, why it hurt us, how to fix it, do some great inner work. But unfortunately, most of the time, we really need to just kind of wall that up and go, okay, well, that sucked a lot, and now I have to go back to work. And so because of that wall comes up, and we needed a protection in order to move on with life at that moment that we had to move on to. But it still stays there. It doesn't go away. So if we don't ever go back and investigate the walls that are there, we just keep building up, and it gets higher and higher and higher, and eventually we're not going to be able to see anything in there because no light reaches it at all.
You know what's interesting though? So again, Freud proposed more of a layered system. So like the shadow to Freud was actually like repressed childhood trauma and things like that. And again, Carl Jung proposes it's more how would I say this? It is a defense mechanism, right? So you have the id, the self, which is what needs to be protected, and the ego is what the self naturally produces. It's what the id wants to be, it's your good qualities, and you put that up against, the physical world. But when you experience trauma, your shadow is, produced. So you add to that, which, as we said, is a barrier between the collective unconsciousness, which is quite literally putting a barrier up against the spiritual world, connecting with other people. What I find really fascinating, though, is Carl Jung proposed a more of a, like, space. Like, if you really think of it like an outer space, right? So you're, rather than saying there's layers, he's saying they're already all there, and your id or self can sink into the shadow more.
That's good.
And it's almost counterproductive because your shadow is going to grow. It's going to envelop you, right? So you feel this unease. But in a way, you're also getting closer to this collective unconsciousness, which is why a lot of people who experience childhood trauma become empaths. They're already right.
Now your nerves are all firing at once. So you're feeling everything.
Yes.
Oh, that's so good. I love him.
I know, he's fantastic.
I love him. So let me first say hi, Rich. I'm glad you're back. How you doing, honey? You work on the shadow because if you don't, it'll that's so true. Denials of issues causes more serious problems than the issues. Mm-hmm. So true. Almost sounds like most of my work is shadow, Pat. I primarily do protection work. Absolutely. Jez, the shadows are bouncers on your vulnerable places, making sure douchebags don't come in. And that's true too. That's definitely the walls that we build up for the protection is, ooh, that is. Pop-in guest will be back. Hi, Kay. Dana, you crack me up. I feel important when someone capitalizes my name or in trouble, but mostly important. That's great. So yes, very good. So when I am talking about shadow work, there is to me, and I will like continue to say this through this whole series over and over again. To me, and again, if it works for you differently, it works for you differently, and that is perfectly okay. I'm just telling you, giving you what works for me so that you have a basis to which, you know, you can start this on. There's also theory that unreality with issues will eventually manifest physically too. Yes. Oh yes. In sickness and in your health and all, absolutely all that for sure. So undealt with, thank you. I knew that wasn't the word you meant to say, but yes, undealt with issues. Yes, for sure. Yes. So there's 3 things that I do with shadow work when I am looking for the shadow. So I usually, how do you find the wall, right? You know that you have walls there. But you're not sure why you put them up. Otherwise, you just take them down if you knew, right? Or you just deal with it or you whatever. So it starts with anything that you are trying to hide from yourself. So you look at what makes you uncomfortable. What do you try to avoid? What situations? And I know the last time I did the Shadow Work series, we talked about watching TV. When you're watching a show, and you know, you get to that point in the show where you go, oh, I would never do that. Pay attention to that. Why is it that you're like, oh, all right, if it's a burning building or something, duh. But I'm talking about like an emotional situation or something that comes up and someone confronts a character about something. Pay attention to that. That should be a signal to you that there's something there that you have created a wall for, and your body, your psyche, your spirit is going, whoo, no, we don't think about that. And start writing that stuff down. So when you are watching TV, pay attention, have a little notebook next to you for the next couple days and start writing down, oh, this situation in this TV show. That was something that I was like, ooh, so uncomfortable with. I don't want to go through that. Okay, then there's something there. I talked about my rage issues and stuff. If there's a behavior that you know you don't like about yourself already, that you're like, oh, this thing that I do, for me, I get super mean. I have this rage issue so that is something you need to start writing that down and saying, okay, when this happens to me, when this behavior comes out, what am I being confronted with that I'm trying desperately to avoid that? There is something there. There is, within that lies the reason for the wall. So you have to start paying attention to that. We are a wall of Vikings, giants, witches, druids, and medicine people, Dana. Yes, that's right. So you don't have to feel nothing. I'm glad to see content around shadow work tonight. There should be more. Great idea to write things down as they arise. Yes. What lines will you cross? What lines will you not cross? Yes. What lines do you want to stop crossing? I take notes during Mama's videos normally, but this is seriously filling up some paper. So you start to recognize that wall and you say, okay, I see it now. I see that I am desperately trying to avoid anyone seeing me as incompetent. For me, that's part of it. I just realized you're here now. I'm like, I don't know. I won't talk about why I feel incompetent because that's so weird. I've never had you here when I did shadow work before. Whoops.
Well, I was gonna say, I think that's a common thing with all mothers. That's a motherly instinct. They're so, you know, I'll raise my child my way. You get that kind of talk a lot, and any suggestion sometimes it's a lash out against. You feel you're being attacked.
It becomes worse though, and I know intuitively you have to know what I'm talking about. It becomes worse when you feel yourself like you did something, even if you didn't. When you feel like you failed at some point miserably, then on top of that, someone else trying to look at you like you failed miserably, it makes it even worse. That block is so high and so tall. I don't know if it'll ever be able to come down all the way. Because it was such a traumatic thing to feel like I had failed. I did not do my job right. I did something terribly wrong, even though I really didn't. There was a point in life that I felt like a huge failure as a mother, and then on top of it, ended up actually getting into a fist fight with my aunt who basically told me that I had failed. And then because that wall had gone so quickly, so fast up, there was like a, how dare you fucking tell me what I can do as a mother? Because internally I already was like, I'm horrible. I'm just awful. There's something horribly wrong. So that's my shadow. That's when I dig down and I'm trying to figure out, bless you, where that comes from. Huh?
I said, I don't know what it is tonight. I'm sneezing. I never
Must
sneeze.
be something in the air.
Probably.
So when I dig down and I'm able to find that, you hold on to that. Okay, here it is. This is the thing. This is the thing that I have. So again, we're going to go back to, there's 3 things I can do with this thing that I'm protecting, that I have built a wall. There's 3 things. First thing you have to do is pull it out into the light and look at it. All right. Do I understand it? Do I know why it's there? Do I know what happened that I shoved it in there to begin with? That I made sure it wasn't ever going to see the light of day again? Do I get that? Yes. Okay. I understand what it is. So what do I want to do with it? Do I decide, wow, it's been there for so long, and that issue, that pain that was surrounding me, I've grown beyond that now. I don't think that's an issue for me anymore. I think I don't need to build a wall around it. I think I have gotten to a point in my life where I can set it down and realize that it's not mine anymore. And that comes through some of the shadow work that we're going to do, but that's one of the 3 goals that we're getting to. Number 2 is I have brought this out into the light. I recognize it. I'm looking at it. I understand where it came from. I'm not ready to put it down yet. It's still something that causes me pain, but I'm ready to try to start breaking the wall down and allow myself to be more vulnerable in this one area. So I brought it into the light. I'm going to put it back, but there's going to be a night light on it, and I'm going to watch myself for the triggering things that come up. I'm going to try to change my behavior because I think I'm okay. I think I might be able to work on this enough that I don't have to build the wall back up around it. The third thing is I still need this protection. When I pull it out, I look at it, I recognize it, I understand where it came from. It's still raw and painful. And I don't think that if I was to really rip it apart and leave it exposed, I don't think I can go on with my life the way I know I need to. And so I recognized it. It has seen the light. I know it's there, but I'm going to put it back and protect it again for a while. And think about it and, maybe do some work towards thinking about it some more. But I know I still need that layer of protection, and that's okay. Doesn't matter at all. You brought it out. Good for you. You recognized it. Good for you. You're able to acknowledge it. Good for you. It's still raw and painful. It's okay to keep protecting it. It's okay. And so one of the biggest things that we're going to keep talking about is that shadow work has two sides to it, at least as a spiritual concept for me. The side that we're working on is the shadow that is exposing these raw nerves that we've covered over, and affirmation work. Keep doing affirmation work because this is tough stuff. This is pulling stuff out that we purposefully covered. This is pulling things out and recognizing things that were painful for us. And so we don't want to dive so deep that we pull ourselves into a depression. It is so, so, so important to build yourself up a lot more than you normally would during this process. So if you're doing shadow work, you need to do affirmation work. It goes hand in hand, or don't do it at all. And recognize that you may not be ready for shadow work right now. And that's okay too. Spiritually, mentally, physically, you may not be in a place where you can do shadow work and know that you're okay. Sometimes we just have to recognize that spot in life that is not gonna do well if we are exposing these raw nerves. Okay, does that make sense? I know I missed about 8,000 questions. Frankie, did that trigger anything? I'm gonna look through questions here.
No, I think you said it really well. I mean, as I mentioned in the quotes, it's a very painful process, or can be. So it's important to take care of yourself while seeking enlightenment, if you will.
For sure. All right.
I need to find that other quote.
Okay. Let's see. I read that already. I went back too far. Hold on. Sorry. What do you think about needing to deal with shadow work in regards to past lives? Absolutely. And I think that comes in when you recognize a wall and you start to say, okay, wow, this thing. So remember we talked about looking at TV shows, looking at situations in life where you suddenly are looking at other people interacting and realizing, whoo, this is really uncomfortable for me. And you can't pinpoint a reason why that's uncomfortable for you personally. Sometimes it's, I'm deathly afraid of heights, but I've never had anything happen to me that I should be afraid of heights. There isn't any logical reason that I know of that would be an issue for me, that it's so triggering for me. That may have come from a past life. And at that point, you have to recognize that that's a possibility.
So did your past life die in a hardware store?
I wonder. But you never know. That's a possibility. So I'm laughing.
What if you're afraid of death, though? Well, that's
Then it could be you had a horrible death.
Yeah. Or
Well,
weren't ready to go.
But wouldn't you be more afraid of the thing that killed you rather than just death
What
itself?
if you just died of old age, but you didn't finish everything you wanted
Yeah,
to?
terrified because, or you hadn't built the relationship, so you were alone, or there's so many things that could happen that would have made you afraid of death itself.
I'm sitting here, I'm like, but wouldn't I be more scared of the thing that killed me? But like, if I just, you're like you pointed out, if I died of old age, then stuff like that.
Exactly.
I found my quote, by the way.
Okay.
So, again, Carl Jung. How can I be substantial if I do not cast a shadow? I must have a dark side also if I am to be whole.
Yes.
So.
And that balance. That's
Mhm.
and that's why I love Carl Jung so much.
I know.
Is because you and I always talk about I always talk about the Great Jedi, but
Terrible.
that dark part of the Force, the spirit, the light part of the spirit, and that there either way there's not one evil. Dark doesn't mean evil. Dark just means dark. And light doesn't mean necessarily good. It just means light. And so that balance is so important when you believe in both. So did that answer the question? Yes, I believe so. Yes, needing to do shadow work. So if it doesn't make sense and you're like, okay, this just doesn't make sense, then you need to start looking into how to heal past life trauma and that kind of thing. And that's like kind of a whole nother level of how to do that. So I don't want to start that yet. Because it's really about you start to go into, you have to find somebody who can do a regression, because without that it's very difficult without knowing where it came from to move forward. You're always gonna find a stopping point because you're not exactly sure what it is that you're trying to move forward from. So there's some very good people who can do past life stuff. I have some good names. Jeff is one of them. Tattooed Spirit. Great. Raven. Hi, Jen. Homesick in bed. Oh, I'm sorry you're sick in bed. Sending healing. Is it possible to still have that? Wait. Is it possible to still have that to have to deal with? Yes. Or is it something only in your current life? No, I think we answered that, Rich. Yes, it's definitely possible that you still have to deal with it, for sure. My way, the highway. I brought you into this world, I'll take you out. All right, and it just skipped on me, guys. If there's anything that I missed that you need to ask still, put it in caps for me, guys. And my mods, if you could point it out to me, that'd be great.
Juice. Do you want it?
Nah, you can dump it.
Okay. I was gonna say it was just sitting on the table and it's like near the edge. I didn't want
Thank
to
you.
knock it over or anything.
There's no light without the dark. Yes. Dana, I became nervous with that lawsuit against YouTube. Oh, when you went off of YouTube, I know, Shauna. I think. Oh, so Dana, I think. Oh, I know your fear of octopi. There you go.
What?
She is terrified. Poor Dana is terrified of octopus. And I'm like, I love octopus. They're super intelligent.
They're
And,
really intelligent.
Like scary, spiritually connected and intelligent. I love, I want one. And she is terrified of octopus. So I think I was killed by an octopus in my last life. That's why I'm so terrified. They live under my bed and want to eat my toes. Oh, I know it. Pigs in a blanket. Oh, Shauna, you're terrible. Okay.
Smart enough to know Maze to murder you.
Oh, you guys crack me up. Okay. So what are we at? How many minutes? 54. Okay, we're doing pretty good. Any questions on where we are right now? I figured actually I would pull out a couple of my decks to show you some of the decks that I plan on working with when we're doing shadow work. And I'm trying to think of anything else that I didn't bring up that I should have. You think, Frank?
I mean, it's your channel. I don't know what your plan is. I don't think you really have a plan, to be honest.
I don't. I just
But
bring
yeah,
up.
let's-
That's why I'm
this
asking you,
topic
because it depends on the energy in the room is always different based on who we have in the room. And so different things come up that wouldn't have come up last time because there's different people here, and I think the universe creates that on purpose.
I mean, we'd need another like full hour to talk about it. But have you ever looked up Carl Jung's theory on 48 chromosomes?
No,
46 and 2.
no, I don't think so. It almost
So,
sounds familiar though. Have you
he
talked about
actually-
this before?
Briefly, yeah. He actually proposes that eventually humanity will evolve to gain an extra set of chromosomes, and rather than having the 44 and 2 sex chromosomes, we'll eventually have 46 and 2, and will be ascended in like a collective consciousness. But that's way down the line.
So this is when I get to this point where you start to really I feel like adoration for some of these brilliant people. That's partly why I love to study these brilliant people, is because there's always a spiritual aspect. There's always a spiritual aspect. When you look at these people who were absolutely brilliant, like the best minds of our entire time, there's always a spiritual aspect to what they're talking about. There's always something that is not able to be grasped by what you can touch and know. And so when you think about that and you get to the naysayers who try to poo-poo what we believe, and I love when people talk about how there's crystals. They're weird crystal people, and you think there's energy in crystals, and I'm like, really? Because people are, scientists are putting quartz crystals in computer boards. Why is that? Oh yes, because it takes and channels vibrational energy through the computer board. Oh yeah, that would be why that works. You idiots. I saw a centipede in school the other day, and I swear it had feathery wings at its back, and I should have had one of the kids bottle it up for me to show you. Oh, right? How cool is that?
Ew.
How are some people that smart, and I'm over here just telling dad jokes? Look, a lot of us like the dad jokes. It's okay, Dana.
No, dad jokes are terrible. So awful.
Yes, Pat and Steven, I swear they are competing now in the admin chat for dad jokes. Yes. Too funny. Okay, so let me move the feet, please, and thank you.
Mhm.
Let me just show you some of the decks that I have pulled out because I believe that they are good shadow work decks. So I don't want to do like an hour on these, because literally I only pulled out 5 decks. It's not a ton for me. Usually when I start a series that I think has to do with decks, I pull out like 30, but I've put a lot of my tarot decks away. So I will tell you that my first 2 go-to decks for shadow work are both of Ellen Lorenzi Prince's most popular decks. And it's Tarot of the Crone and the Dark Goddess Tarot. So Pat Mama showed a new deck today. I forgot the name, but thought of you because there were a lot of ravens. Yes, the multi-stabber deck, which is the one that, of course, I cried at the unboxing because of, you know, the way that it came about. And all right, now I will tell you that apparently, I think these two decks might be out of print. So I'm sorry. I try not to do that to you guys. But I believe that she's going to reprint them. I email the artist Arnell all the time. Actually, when I think when I was doing shadow work the last time and I showed these decks, she emailed me and we got into a conversation and now we're friends. And so I'll find out. I swear she was saying that she's going to be republishing both of these, which would be good because they are incredible shadow work decks. They both have decent books to them, which, you know, I don't really look at the books very much. But they also both have a very in-depth series of like meditations and all kinds of stuff that I gained access to because, where is it? Get it.
This?
Whatever is sticking out like that.
That's your hair.
I know, but I couldn't find it there. So I gained access to, she gave me access and said I could teach from it. So I will look it up and find it again. Of like meditation work and stuff that you could do with these decks. And yay, I put them back in order. I love it. So this, that logic regarding crystals has nothing to do with crystals transferring their own energy. They are conduits like electrical wires. Do electrical wires, water pipes, etc. have their own energy? Who said? I said they have their own energy. I said it's a conduit. Actually, that was my word that I said was a conduit. So it pulls energy that it is a conduit for.
What's up? I missed that last one.
Oh, someone's trying to say how from Google is a type of crystal used in watches, computers, and other devices to keep time. The quartz crystal vibrates or ticks as an exact 60 seconds per minute. I didn't understand your words that way. That makes sense? Yes. Yeah. That's what I was saying is it's a conduit, which is actually was my exact word, was a conduit for the energy. But anyways, all right. Okay. So the back of the deck, this is a Tarot of the Crone. The back of the deck is black. Very simple. And then the reason this deck is so good is because it is simplified and, to me, very powerful. And when you are doing shadow work, if you do, look at that. Oh, look at that priestess. See the standing stones? She is one of the standing stones, the high priestess. If you do shadow work spreads, which I have several on the Pinterest page that are just awesome, and the Tree of Life one is the one I'm thinking of to start out with. I would do that one first. These decks are incredible to do that with. So I'm just going to go through the majors to start out with here so that we don't go crazy and we're not here forever. But they are so, so good. So instead of the Lovers, we have the Crossroads. And it's kind of specifically almost made for shadow work. This is one of my favorite Justice cards ever. I mean, talk about the epitome of justice. There is no greater example of justice to me than the spider and the spider web.
Ew.
That's the ultimate justice.
Judge, maybe.
The Hermit. I've never been across the pond, but prefer just about anything British. Oh, you're talking about Monty Python, you dorks.
Oh my God.
The wheel is the labyrinth, which is awesome. That is a specific tool to use in shadow work, by the way. The hanged one becomes sacrifice, which is a truly beautiful sacrifice card. Death. Temperance. Did Jen just call us dorks? Of course I did. I know. And you know I'm the biggest dork there is. So, hello. I was just talking about Grey Jedi.
Yeah, but Monty Python is awful.
Monty Python isn't awful.
It's
How
so
can you say
awful.
Monty Python
The
is
humor
awful?
is so terrible.
Tower. Hey, it is not, what's the other British guy that I hate? The one my father used to watch. So it's the old British guy with the annoying song in the beginning, and he just went around. He was a sexual pervert, basically went around like goosing everyone and had women with big boobs. And what the hell
No,
with
them are fighting with. Look, I have a very
Benny
dark...
Hill? Thank you. Oh my God, he's horrible.
I've never even heard of
Horrible.
him, luckily, but
Look him up. It's
I don't want to.
awful.
So is Monty
The
Python.
Tower.
Though. Look, I have a very dark sense of humor. Some British humor can be funny. I like Jimmy Carr is hilarious. Ricky Gervais is hilarious. Monty Python is awful. It is painful
You
to
know,
watch.
Uncle Jason loves Monty Python.
I know, because he's weird and likes that. I don't even know what it is. It's not dry humor. It's just like...
No, you're right. It's British humor.
But no, Jimmy Carr is hilarious.
This is one of my favorite star cards ever. By the way.
I love Benny Hill.
Ugh, I hate Benny Hill. I hate Benny Hill. Hate him. Oh my gosh, look him up right now. Because now I kind of need to hear the song because I can't picture it in my head, which is going to kill me because he watched it like all the freaking times. The Moon. Lunar, I have to say, this is not a deck that I would work with on a daily basis or to do readings for other people. This for me is a strictly shadow work deck. And it's there for, you know, a very specific purpose. So I can see if this doesn't, you know, appeal to you, there's a reason for that. Okay, and so that was Tarot of the Crown. Did you look it up?
Yeah, I'm not watching that. That looks awful.
Yeah, hold on. Where is it? See, now I want to see what the song is, though. You have to put the song on so that...
What song?
Just put Benny Hill on, and it's the beginning song that he runs around and acts like a moron.
This?
Yes. Oh, yes, that's the song.
That's awful.
Isn't it?
Yeah.
It's terrible. It's awful. It's awful. Okay, so the next deck is from the same artist, Ellen Lorenzi Prince. This is the Dark Goddess Tarot. This deck is also, not only is it an incredible shadow work deck, which, damn it, I didn't put this one in order. But this deck I also use a lot when I am specifically looking for what goddesses to use for stuff. Mama Squirrel, Benny Hill is your shadow work. Ah! No! You could be right, though. Damn it. No. No. So I will try to show some of these. The Hierophant is Sybil. So it has a specific dark goddess. All of these are dark goddesses or in the dark aspect of the goddess itself. I'm just going to try to find some of the... And why are they upside down? I don't even read reversals. I hate when that happens to my decks. The Fool. Love this card. Is Sheila Nagig. Oh my goodness, I can't believe you're right. It's totally, there's some shadow thing there that I need. No! The death card. Come on, is Santa Muerte. Hi, cutie.
So,
Is Hexen still here? What's the matter? Okay. The Nine of Air, the Nine of Swords is the Banshee. That's him and I's like favorite card all the time. And I'm trying to find one or two more that are really good ones. The Hermit is Baba Yaga.
it's a scary hermit.
Right? The Chariot is Ishtar. The Priestess is the Pythia. Frankie, do you read cards too?
No, I've had readings done. I'm not like opposed to it or anything like that. I just haven't actually taken the time to learn that discipline.
And he likes it when I do his readings. He's always like, oh, they're so right.
I believe in energy, so I think tarot kind of attunes that.
Okay, so once again, all right, I must have to be working with Arachne again, which I've worked with her before, like specifically though because of my phobia of spiders. But here's the star card, which is the Spider Woman. And here again, to me, this is a great star card because the Spider Woman is at the center of the web of consciousness. Hi, Rochelle. So it's a great card. So that's a great deck for shadow work if you can, get your hands on it. It's really a good one to do. I'm not going to pull out probably because I didn't put a freaking warning on here.
Oh, shoot, I did the poppers. No.
Oh, the puppy. I know. She's huge. She's getting bigger every day.
Every day.
I didn't put the sexual warning on here, but the Witch's Insurrection Tarot, this is absolutely one of my favorite decks of the year. And I think it's going to be super great for shadow work. So if you didn't see that.
Pretty ones?
Yes.
With the woman?
Yes.
Those are amazing.
I know.
Those.
I'm telling you, this is hands down. This might be my favorite deck of the year.
Sexiest deck ever.
It really is, and it's going to be so good for shadow work. Like, it really. All right, I might have to show a couple cards because I don't think Rich was here when I was doing this deck. So here's the Sorcerer, which is the Magician. Warning: there's sexual content here.
Terrible.
The Magician becomes the Sorcerer. The High Priestess, one of my favorite all-time High Priestesses. Love this. This deck is not for kids. The Empress becomes the Whore. The name of this one is the Witch's Insurrection Tarot. The Emperor is the Mistress. The Hierophant becomes the Authority. Shauna. The Hermit. I love this Hermit card. That is just. I can't see it because my camera sucks, but this is an amazing. Do I go over Shadow Totems? You know what? I have never done that. That is something that maybe I will do this time in shadow work. It's definitely something, yeah, I think that's a good idea. I could. So there is, the spider could be mine. I wonder if it is, and that's why I'm so drawn. That's a very good suggestion, and it's something now I'm going to have to look into for sure, because I bet you're right. So the last two decks are done by the same people, and one of these decks I was supposed to come out this year, so I haven't looked lately to see if Mark's video has come out talking about. I find this deck to be terribly uncomfortable. And Fool's Journey, that's almost the point of that deck is to face the uncomfortability, and when you reach an image that is that uncomfortable, it's like, why is that so powerfully uncomfortable? And that's, has to do with the shadow work. So that's kind of a good thing. Not that you have to buy it or anything. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying, pay attention when that stuff happens when we're starting the shadow work. That's a good thing to pay attention to. Anyway, Mark Greenwood and John Matthews did this deck with Will Worthington. Or not. Wait, is this one that Will Worthington wasn't involved in? Shoot. Mark did this deck for sure, Mark Ryan, before the Wildwood Tarot. This is the Greenwood Tarot, which is what the Wildwood Tarot turned into. This one was first, though, and I like it better. So I'm showing it because I like it better. And it's supposed to be coming out like very shortly. If you look up Mark Ryan's YouTube page, he's been doing videos all year about it. And that it's supposed to be released. They're supposed to be re-releasing the deck. So to me, this, the Green Woman and the Green Man, this deck is very, very inner work. I love bringing this deck out after Christmas, in the dark half of the year. Still, it's very earthy. It's very nature-based. It's very pagan. I'm one of those gay guys that don't really like seeing the female form, only out of respect that I don't want to be gawking at someone and it being thought that I'm some old perv. But it's a double standard with me that I will gawk at a six-pack. Yeah, that's true, Rich. Mine had them and a Woodland Fairy set, so I bought them out. This deck is just, I just love this deck. I only use it between autumn and spring, winter and the end of, or the beginning of spring. There's 2 different lovers cards. Because of the feeling I get from it, that's when I want to pull it out the most. There's strength. Is Will Worthington a character from Big Bang Theory? No, that's Will Wheaton. The Hermit. Ugh, I do absolutely adore this deck. All right, I'll try to get through this as quick as I can. Hold on. Wheel of Fortune, Justice. I love this Justice card too. Gorgeous. Look at this stag. Come on. Death. Bless you. The Skull and the Raven. This is the Greenwood Tarot. This is the tarot that came before the Wildwood Tarot, which is the next shadow work deck that I have to show really quickly. The Guardian. Is it 9 o'clock? No. It shouldn't be your father anyway.
It's 20:54. Yeah, it's almost 9.
Yeah, but he gets out at 9, so this shouldn't be him yet.
Unless he got out early.
Hope not. He gets mad at me. The Blasted Oak, that is the Tower. The Star becomes the Pole Star. All right, what deck are we talking about? I want to be in on it. I don't want to pay attention to what I'm doing, damn it. Well, Wheaton, originally from a movie Stand By Me, then Star Trek. The Moon. The Sun. Judgment. And finally, I love this. the world. Love, love, love. Love this. This whole deck is like this, though. And the storyteller, they have extra card. I kicked myself out of the stream. Marge, how in the world did you kick yourself out of the stream? That's too funny. You know, Frank, that this deck is actually yours.
Which one?
The Wildwood.
Is it really?
Yeah. So if you ever want to learn the tarot,
That's funny.
I'll give it back to you. I do use it sometimes, but I am willing to allow you to have your deck back if you ever want to learn the tarot.
I'm gonna have a lot to learn coming up.
Fairy Gardens at Dollar Tree. They had ice cream ones. Oh, Fairy Gardens. Oh, you know what? Who was it? Hexam was showing me that. Because of course he works at Dollar Tree, so I get to see stuff early. Ah, shit. Are these not in order either? Yes, they are. Hold on. I just gotta find the damn Major Arcana. Yeah, here we go. All right, so here's the Fool, which is the Wanderer. Yes, Wildwood is an absolutely great deck. It's very nature-based. This is what was created after the Greenwood that was kind of, it's based on, there's a lot of the same imagery as the Greenwood Tarot, but they just added some stuff. Now I have to hunt down everyone. The Shaman is the Magician. Hi, Nicole. The High Priestess becomes the Seer. Really gorgeous. The Green Woman. And the Green Man are the Emperor and the Empress. The Ancestor is the Hierophant, which I love. The Forest Lovers. Still here listening, just packing up boxes. Dana, I don't know how you do it. You are going through 5 days a week of radiation, plus one of those days chemotherapy for like 5 hours, and puking your brains out half the time, and now you're packing up your whole fucking house. What am I going to do with you? This is the Archer, which is the Chariot card. Great Chariot card. Mama, I could organize and categorize all of your decks and do it in alphabetical order. What do you want me to do with the log for them? Shauna, I need to fly you out here. You know, the amount you post, Mama, I'm going to have to watch your videos on double time. You're going to sound like a squirrel. Well, there you go. Perfect. It's fun to me, something different. I'm glad you're excited to move, but I hate moving. Hate it. There's something on my forehead. What is that? Strength becomes, oh, look at that image. Strength because the stag. All right, Ayana. Yeah. Why do I keep doing that with your name, Ayana? I don't know why I want to call you Ainana. Yes, this is a great one for shadow work. That's why I brought it out for sure. The Hooded Man is the Hermit. Great, great, great deck for shadow work. It's very intuitive. It's very nature-based. It's very down to earth. I love moving. You get to pack everything up, and then when you unpack, it's like Christmas. Yeah, but I don't unpack. Like, I have boxes. Oh, you know what? It's on the phone. I have boxes that are still from our move from North Carolina. So that was 7 years ago.
Yeah.
I have boxes downstairs that have never been unpacked from North Carolina.
Yeah, 2013. Yes.
What can I use on my altar for a representation of a goddess and god? Oh, honey. So you guys all should know this deck, right? Yes. Clear, like literally, if you don't have any money and you don't have Goodwill, I go to Goodwill and I find statues of deer for the god. I find goodness, a cup, a cool looking cup for the goddess because of the womb. If you go outside and you have a branch that has, I can't really see it. My stang back there is literally a either a 2 or a 3 pronged stick that can represent the horns of a god. If you, let's see, goddess outside. The acorn, because the acorn can be like a womb. It starts as an acorn and can grow into the tree. So a seed. There's so much. Yeah, like Rich said, literally a rock for the goddess. I mean, you know, the stability of the rock. You really can go away. You really can use all kinds of stuff. If you, is it possible to use candles? Yes, absolutely. I would use different colors if you have them. A black candle for, well, black candles are hard to find. A darker candle for the god and a white candle for the goddess. If you don't have different colors, inscribe a sigil on it. The goddess can be, the triple moon, and the god can be a circle with the crescent moon on top, which makes him a horned god. Really simple sigil on it, and that will make it different energies. You can really, whatever feels masculine to you, use for the god. Whatever feels feminine, use for the goddess. And when I say masculine and feminine, I don't mean what society says is masculine and feminine. I'm talking about the goddess energy of the womb and creation. That's the goddess energy. And then the god energy is of fertility, sexuality, and strength, that kind of thing. That is the energy of the god. So whatever feels like that for you. You can also make what you want from clay, yep, or Play-Doh. I have air dry clay over here, and I made myself a little god, even though one of his horns fell off. I gotta glue it back on. And believe me, I don't think it's like the best god in the world. It really isn't. It looks like a kindergartner, but I did it. So it has my energy in it, and I put, little crystals in it and stuff. So no problem. Just, do what feels right. Yes, and please do feel free to join our Facebook group. We love to answer questions and help each other out. I hate that. Drives me crazy.
You have to either let your hair down or...
I know. My friend said, I'm not being perverted here, but she said I could use a male dildo. Oh, absolutely. And you're not being perverted. I have crystal penises I use for male god. Absolutely. That totally works. Sun and moon. Yep. Sun and moon. The silver goddess. The moon is the goddess and the sun is the god, usually that kind of energy.
In fact, if you have Jehovah's Witnesses coming over, I highly recommend using the penis.
Yes, please do. I definitely recommend that highly and often. For sure. I can't do it. I personally put on, just because I'm that kind of witch, I personally put on, the new Netflix, not new anymore, but the Netflix show Sabrina, because she's talking about like worshiping the devil, and there's an actual like goat-looking devil and stuff. I love doing that, for sure. Jessica says, I need a crystal penis. I'm a pervert. We all need a crystal penis. Hello. Look at how many. I wish Brad was here. He has, 20 now? And they're all beautiful. I'm always like, Brad, I love that penis. It's beautiful. Your penis is gorgeous. Yes, we are all that kind of witch. All right.
Fair enough.
I have a plastic tiger from the toy store as my God representation. Perfect. Right? The toy store is probably a great place to find stuff like that. Crystal penises for everyone. What are my choices for protection after I smudged a room? First of all, you saged a room. It's a, I don't know how to say this. Smudging is a process that, unless you are Native American, you don't do. Even though you can say that, but smudging is a very specific ritual that Native Americans use. We can cleanse with smoke, we can sage, we can cleanse a room, but we are not smudging. Just to put it out there, there's not much that I go politically correct on, but since we screwed the Native Americans so royally, I feel like we need to give them their just dues for some stuff. Anyways, what was the question now that I went off on some stupid thing? I'm sorry.
For protection.
Protection. Okay, for protection. To protect a room, you can bring a rock in from outside, create your own sigil for protection. And if you don't know how to do a sigil, I'm sure I have a video on it. I can't remember, but I'm sure I do. Sigil making is really easy. Either you create a symbol that to you means it's very protective, or if you would like to, hold on, do I have a pen here? Please tell me I have a pen here. I've got to have 12 pens here. Where are they? Hold on. This is a really quick tutorial. Okay, here we go. So you want a sigil on protection. You write protection. You cross off any repeating letters. So you're left with P, R, E, C, I, N. Okay? Cross off any repeating letters, left with, that's what you're left with. And you create a sigil out of those letters. This is one way. This is not the only way. This is not the best way. This is one way. That's in there too. Okay, so that has every letter in there. I realize it would have been a lot better if you could have seen when I was drawing it, because now it's kind of hard to see. Oh, and I'm definitely not going to be able to do it backwards. Hold on. Thank you. So the P is right here, P. The R, I added that, which made that now an R. The E, three lines here, that made that an E. The C I put over here, I, and an N is already in here, over here. So that sigil now means protection. Draw that on a rock that you pull from outside and put it in the middle of your room and tell the rock to protect your room. There's all kinds of things that you can do. It really is based on intention. And so whatever you're doing, it's based on intention. There's also a whole video I did about protection magic in general. I would say it was probably about a year ago. So if you want to look through my videos, I think it's called Protection Magic. That's yes, I would suggest making your own design. Exactly. That was just as a to show you, tutorial to show you how to do sigils. But your own sigil will have much more power for you, for sure. All right. So that was the beginning of shadow work. We will do shadow work, a video of the series at least once a week, maybe more. I will let you know before. Hopefully we do it from now on. I have my Ancestry DNA kit, but I highly doubt I have any native ancestry. I'm expecting European and Middle Eastern. Right? I really liked doing mine. I think it was really interesting. I wish you were still on our things so I could do yours. I gotta do, because I can do it with my FSA now. By the way, your FSA money, the money that you put aside if you are working and you put aside money pre-tax for medical expenses, the FDA says you can use that now for a DNA kit. Just so you know, up to, I think it's $125, I think. That's how I did mine, and my husband's this year, so. Just so you know. All right, guys, I love you. Thank you for joining me and Frankie tonight. This was great. And keep an eye out. I'm sure I'll be doing at least one video tomorrow at some point. Does that work with HSA? I bet it does. Because the FDA said it was allowed for medical expenses. So, all right, you guys. Press that like button on the way out so this video gets seen a little bit more, and have a great night. We'll see you next time.
See ya.